everyone, this is ICE's Thought for the Week. My name is Caitlin and today I'm going to be talking to you about dealing with times of uncertainty. Right now we're in lockdown 3.0 and maybe lately you've had some uncertain thoughts about the future, about school, about exams. I want to talk to you about how we can deal with these thoughts. I believe in a loving God who is always there for us no matter what. What's amazing is that when we face these times of uncertainty, we can put our trust in God because He's not going to leave us alone just because times get tough. In fact, God wants to help you get through your fears and worries. God has a great plan for our lives and we can go to Him when we face uncertainties. In the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." At the time when this passage was written, there was an exile in a place called Babylon. And what this meant was that the Jews were being held captive in a foreign place. One thing that we can learn from this passage is that God has a plan for our lives. And maybe right now you're thinking, how does God have a plan? I'm stuck at home, I can't go and see my friends or go to school. God's plan is beyond what we're going through right now, and His plan is for you to have a hope and a future. At the time of the passage, Jeremiah told the Jews that they would not be held captive for more than 70 years. God had an end. He had a plan to end the season that they were going through. The Jews thought that God was against them in this time, however, He was not. He had a hope and a future for them. I believe that this passage can relate to us because God has a huge plan for you and for your future too. His plans are greater than beyond anything you can imagine. And this season that we're currently in of lockdown is just a tiny season compared to the rest of your life. This doesn't mean that we won't feel times of uncertainty and times of struggle. Back in March, I was studying really hard for my exams. I was trying really hard to ensure that I got the best grades. But then the country went into lockdown. I was no longer able to do my exams. I was worried how I'd get my grades. I became distant from friends and I became really worried about my future, and I faced a lot of uncertainty. And I really began to struggle with my mental health. However, I knew that I wasn't alone with this. Around 1 in 4 people struggle with mental health. And in lockdown, this grew higher. When I was struggling in the first lockdown, it was God who got me through it all. I began to help more with my church, I focused on spending time with God, and I spent time with Christian friends. The verse in Jeremiah really helped me through lockdown, as it gave me peace, knowing that God had a plan and that this lockdown was not going to be here forever. One thing that really helped me was to give my worries to God. Giving our worries to God sounds really hard, but it's just about prayer. And prayer is just a conversation. We don't have to have all these big fancy words or long sentences. You can literally sit in your bed and just pray to God. When we're talking to friends, we don't necessarily start using all these big words. Do the same with God, just tell Him how you're feeling. For example, you could say, "God, I'm really struggling with my schoolwork. Please give me peace." And God will care about that and He'll listen to you because He cares and loves you. Another thing that I find really useful is looking at the certainties and the promises that God promises me in the Bible. He promises you that you're loved, that you can trust in Him, that He won't leave you, and that you're not going to be alone. These are just some of the certainties that God gives us, and there's many, many more. However, there's also certainties in your everyday life. What are some of the certainties that you see in your life? We can look at the certainties that we do see in our lives and the certainties that God gives us and focus on them instead. Whether you like him or not, you've probably heard of Justin Bieber. He's released albums full of songs and he's also received 7 UK #1s. However, things haven't always been easy for him. He went through a really rough patch, struggling with his mental health. He had these uncertain thoughts about the future and he didn't see an end to them. However, he put his trust in God, and recently he's been posting a lot about God on his social media. One of his recent posts said, "God will give you the strength and energy you need to get through what you're going through. Trust Him, He won't let you down." I would really recommend you trying some of these ways to combat your uncertainties during this time, because I know that you can get through this. So let's give it a go. Try speaking to God. Begin to look for the certainties in your life. Look in the Bible at the certainties that God gives you. Finally, trust in God. God hasn't let me down, and I believe that He won't let you down too.